All. So let's get it started. Not to waste a lot of time here. I had a lot of people reach out to me over the weekend. I don't know why specifically this weekend. I must have touched on something that people found interesting. And I kept getting a lot of the same questions asking about short term trading and intermediate term trading versus long term trading. You can use the term trading with investing, by the way, because if you're not actively investing your money, if you're not actively taking an interest in your money, that's like not actively taking an interest in your health. That's crazy in my world. If you think the statement I just made doesn't suit you, I'm not for you. I would never just leave the knowledge and thought process of my health or my money up to someone else. I have to know a heck of a lot more than that. And what struck me in the questions that I was receiving, I talk a lot about the market's structure and I talk a lot about its dynamics. And I think I need to revisit that conversation a little bit. Because what you have to understand is that all markets, and so I'll often refer to stock markets because most people are most aware of those, but this goes for crypto markets, this goes for commodities, currencies, you name it. If it is a tradable asset, if it is something that one person can sell to another person, then what I'm about to say applies. And here it is. So you have three levels almost to every single market that I just named. So you have the less knowledgeable hands or the retail client. This is your everyday person. This person, at least historically, has tended to hire someone to take care of this for them because they are under the impression that what that professional is doing is very difficult. Unbeknownst to them, that doesn't happen to be the case when it comes to strictly the investing. There's a lot more that goes on in that world, but when it comes to the investments themselves, this is not a complicated process. Then you have your second level. This would be banks, brokerages, CTAs. These are the people that you're hiring. So you have your less knowledgeable hands, you have your more knowledgeable hands, and these people are the people that you're hiring to manage your investments and oftentimes also to do your financial planning for you, your estate planning for you, these sorts of things. Okay, that's your middle tier. And now here's your bottom tier. These are your market makers. These are the people that make it possible for all of these transactions to take place. While how do you framework what I'm trying to say? Well, keeping the abuses at a minimum, maybe at the manipulation at a minimum. They play a lot of roles, but basically without these market makers, this bottom tier, you would not be able to transact in open markets. Okay, so they're the reason that you can trade whatever it is that you're trading. Now let's talk about what their job is. Their job is to not care who wins. They don't care if the institutions are making more money or if the retail everyday investor is making more money. Now, the institutions tend to make more money because, like in any business, those with more knowledge have the ability to control their emotions. And if you can control your emotions, you will beat someone that gets emotionally charged. This is the same reason that the best surgeon in the United States at whatever surgery you want to come up with, let's make it life threatening. The best heart surgeon in the country would never operate on his own child. He's the number one guy. Let's say the best in the world. He's the best in the world. He's the number one guy. He would absolutely never operate on his own child. Why? He's too emotionally attached. He's going to make a mistake. I guarantee you he gets the number two guy. So technically he's better. He'll never do it on his own. He's going to get the number two guy, okay? He is too emotionally attached. And knowing that he's emotionally attached, he needs someone else to do it. Now, when it comes to your money, when it comes to those less knowledgeable hands, those retail investors' hands, the truth is a little bit of knowledge will get you right into that second tier. You'll be able to control your emotions. It is wise to have some experts kind of guiding you or having taught you. You did some tutelage with this person for several years, but even still, you're going to want some guidance to be taking place there. Now let's get back to these market makers. I just wanted to explain that they are unconcerned about who wins or who loses. Here's their job. Their job is to make money while possessing zero risk on themselves. So at the very first layer, these market makers, they want to possess zero risk. They want to spread that risk out. They want to spread it to the buy side. They want to spread it to the sell side. They want to spread it to the options market, the futures market, whatever, you name it. They need to eliminate risk, and they do that. They hedge their hedges. Their hedges have hedges. These are called Greeks. You don't really need to know all about this stuff unless you're trading day to day, unless you're a day trader. You don't need to know about all the Greeks and what they do and what they stand for. All you need to know is that their job is to create this transaction at a zero risk level. What does it mean when you do something at a zero risk level? Let's be clear about what that means. Well, imagine that you're going to drive your family you're going to go on a road trip, okay? And you need to get to a zero risk level. You're going to apply the seatbelts, obviously, because the seatbelts is your first. Well, actually, you're going to have to start with the purchase of the car, and you're going to have to make sure that it has the best safety ratings, the best impact ratings. It has airbags where necessary, airbags that have been tested and don't do damage, that the chemicals don't burn the skin. You'll have to start there. Once you have this vehicle, and that's probably your investment itself, you've looked at this investment, you've tested the impact, you've tested the airbags, you've tested this thing for safety. You say, okay, this is the safest mechanism I can utilize. You then have to take a look at what's in that mechanism. So, okay, seatbelts, does it have third rows? How am I packing the car? Because if I have to slam on the brakes, everything's going to fly forward. You're going to do that. So now you're going to apply some more safety. And then, in fact, you're probably going to now, after you've applied safety to the internals of the car, you're going to look externally. You're going to say, okay, what freeways are the safest? In fact, let's avoid those freeways. Let's get on the small roads. You can see how this is stacking up. This is the same way that a market maker stacks up to get to zero interest. Okay, now, when you're getting to zero interest, zero risk, when you're breaking it down to get all the way to zero risk, what can happen? Well, if somebody wants to sell something and somebody wants to buy something, and I have to create this transaction, unless there's more people on this side than this side, or there's a higher demand on this side than this side, what's ultimately going to happen is I'm gonna say, okay, well, let's just say the S&P for argument's sake. We got buyers at 5,000, we got sellers at 5,100. I need to be at zero risk, and I just want you to think about this in terms of like a layer. So you're at 5,000, you're at 5,100. Basically, what this market maker needs to do is he needs to make the 5,000 level as strong as it can and the 5,100 level as strong as it can, and he'll collect the spread, the middle, as his payment for creating this transaction. Now, as long as this is as strong as this and all other dynamics being completely ignored, he's in a zero risk scenario. But because he's in this zero risk scenario, what has he done to the market? He's created that range. That's where a range comes from, folks. That's how a range is created. And right now, we're actually going to experience that at least through mid-June, because there's not a lot of active interest. We have corporate buybacks happening, which are creating huge flows, according to Goldman Sachs, 5.5 billion daily. However, you're going to find that a lot of trend followers, a lot of retail, there's just a lot of people that are also out of the market. So right now, those support levels are the support and resistance, this range is really strong. Now, why is that important to know? Because if you're buying out of the money options, and if you don't know what an out of the money option is, I want you to ignore this. But if you're buying out of the money options, you're messing up unless they're really, really tight. So why I wanted to bring this up is because if this conversation feels a little heavy to you, then you don't need to worry about short-term trading. Now, day trading doesn't mean you have to be in there making 1,000 transactions a day. In fact, I'll tell you right now, the guys I know that are the best, they're never doing that. The guys I see with thousands of transactions are rookies, pulling up Fibonacci retracements and RSIs and Bollinger Bands. And if you're doing that stuff, now, I do, this is this is an umbrella statement I'm about to make, and then I'm going to contradict myself. But if you're doing those things, odds are you have no idea what you're doing. Now, if you understood the first part of what I said, if you understand market makers, zero risk, how support is created, how resistance is created, and you understand that we're in a tight range right now, so you're going to attach Fibonacci to that to know those levels within that range, that's different. You're operating on a different level. Short-term trading may be for you. It doesn't mean it is. That is one tiny aspect of what it takes. But what I want people to understand is when you're going from that base range trading, when you have a great understanding of these market makers and the Greeks, this can make you an amazing short-term trader. If you understand the center, if you understand those institutions, how they work, how they manipulate the emotions of these people up here, then you are most likely you can do very well at swing trading, which I personally believe most people are very, 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 very capable of becoming, spending about a half an hour to an hour a week. That's my opinion. That's how I feel about it. Then you have retail, and retail really just works off emotion. Dow broke 40,000. We should be buying. This is exciting news, terrible news. The fact that they're headlining this stuff is awful. Just so you know, we've moved 1% in 3 months at market highs. This is what a market top looks like. This isn't what a market that's ready to take off looks like. I just want to put that out there. And there's apparently only one bear left on Wall Street. I guess the Morgan Stanley guy gave in. The JP Morgan guy is still calling for it. JP Morgan guy and me. Okay. If you're not hedging right now, you should be market neutral or you should be market short. I say that with confidence. I say it with conviction. I have no problem with it. That's my opinion. That is my opinion. But what I wanted to talk about today was structure. So if you understand that zero risk, that will help you to understand the range. And if you understand the range, if you understand what I said, short-term trading may be for you. Otherwise, start learning, because once you understand that middle section, you will have the ability to avoid bear markets, big recessions with relative ease. Once you understand that, and very, very, very little action needed. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. As always, if you are having a tough day today, if today seems insurmountable, I'm with you. I believe in you. Everything gets better. Stay positive. Do something that makes you happy. Shock that system a little bit, jump into some cold water, do an exercise. Sounds hokey, corny, and like BS. And when you feel bad, it certainly is. And if you're sneering at me right now, I love you anyway. I know I sneer at people when they've done this to me, and I'm just not feeling well. And last week, a week ago, on Monday specifically, I was feeling about as bad as a person can. And, that's life. That's life. So keep moving. Thank you all so much. And I cannot wait to see you next time.